Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway. Today I have a very exciting, exclusive unboxing to do for you. Up today I am going to be unboxing this. This is Sample Stock Box 10. Not really. This is the first lot of engineering samples of the Hatton's Genesis coaches. Now, if you haven't been following the Hatton's Genesis project, I will just briefly fill you in on it. So the Hatton's Genesis coaches is a huge range of coaches due for release in Q2 of 2021. And they cover eras 2 and 3, so that's pre-grouping and grouping, the big four. The coaches are going to be split into two basic categories. You've got the four-wheeled coaches and the six-wheeled coaches, and among those two categories you have 6 different body types, which Hattons are going to use to produce, I believe it's 8 different liveries, most of them pre-grouping, some of them grouping, and here's a few of them on the screen now. There are also some departmental liveries as well, which are quite interesting too. Now, you can buy the coaches for just £30 each. This is quite complicated actually, so it's £30 per coach regardless of the coach. If you want to add lighting, that adds £6, so it's £36 for a coach with lighting. Or if you want to buy a pack of 4 coaches unlit, you can save £10. You get £10 off, and I think lit, it's similar. I forget now exactly what it is. Anyway, in here there are 7 different samples, I believe, which cover lots of the different variants. We're going to take a look at these today and see how they're coming along. I should stress this is not a review, as exciting as it is. This is just an unboxing and a quick look. They're very much a work in progress and they do not represent the final products. I mean, obviously they're not even decorated, but they should give us a good idea about what these products are actually going to be like. And I have not clapped eyes on these yet. This stock box has not yet been opened. So, with you for the very first time, which scares me because if I break something, it's going to be on camera. Sorry, Hattons, if they're watching this. Let's get these out and see what these are like. So there's not very much to say before I dig into this, except that Hattons are very serious about protecting these coaches. This box here was shipped inside a second cardboard box, which was literally 10 times the size. However, this is not the proper packaging for the models, so it isn't necessarily going to protect them as well as the actual production packaging will. So, if there are small amounts of damage, it obviously isn't going to represent the final product. It's just because they're packaged in foam. Ooh, did I just give a sneak preview? Right, yes I did. There we go. So look there. So how many do we have? We have 4. Yeah, we have 7. Okay. So this is the part that worries me because I've got to lift them out now, which is terrifying. So shall we start from the left then? I think we should. Okay, they're not too snug. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. So what have we got here then? So this is obviously a 6-wheeler. It's a third brake, I believe. And if you look on the top there, you can see this has the gas lighting. There are quite a lot of differences between the different roofs because there are 3 different lighting methods covered in these coaches. I'm going to look at these much more closely in just a second, but these look wonderful. Actually, I'm surprised that they're so large. You know, when I heard Genesis coaches, I thought they'd be tiny little things like the Stephenson's rocket coaches. But no, actually, they're quite substantial, aren't they? They really are quite large. So that price tag of 30 quid each makes a lot more sense seeing the size of these. So that is lovely. That's very, very nice. Let's take a look at the next one along then. I need to keep up my level of care taking these out so that they don't snag or anything. Oh, it's okay. Right, there we go. So this is a 4-wheeler, as you can see, and this is the 4-wheel third brake, isn't it? This has electric lights, as you can see. It's got a different roof, as you can tell. Wow. This thing looks wonderful, and it's not even decorated. Can you imagine how this is going to look with the decoration? Slightly different wheels on this one, you might notice as well. We'll talk more about what they mean later on, but I believe there are 2 different sets of wheels you can get with these. There might be more. I think it is just 2 though. Okay, next. So we're back to 3-wheel again. These have the Mansell wheels, and the type of lamp on top of this one, I believe, is the oil-fired version, which means we've seen each of them now. And this is the 5 compartment, is it? Is it 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is the 6-wheel 5 compartment. There we go. Look at that. There are so many separately fitted parts on this as well. And the fact that these are not decorated helps you to notice exactly which parts are made of metal. We'll talk more about that later on, but there are a lot of metal details on here, which are great. It's very, very good. Okay, next one. This one's got electric lights again. Let's see what this one is. Carefully does it. Oof. Right, there we go. That looks like the full brake to me, is that right? And you can see there are some serious variations there. The footboards are in two separate parts with this one, which is pretty interesting. And notice also we have the centre wheels here, which are actually free to move. And there's a very clever mechanism going on there. The axle boxes, the springs, everything moves with those centre wheels, which is very, very good. And it's a great smooth movement as well. I'm not sure in real life whether these centre axles would be free to move like that. I mean, on the radius curves that you'd see in real life, I'm not sure if it would be necessary. Either way, though, in order for these to negotiate second radius curves, it was necessary for Hattons to do that, well, clearly. But there we go. Yeah, I believe that is the full brake, and very nice it is as well. Electric lights, that one. Right, let's have a look at the next one. This looks a bit shorter, so it's a four-wheeler. Even so, though, even despite the four-wheeled nature of this, it is reasonably substantial, isn't it? It's not like the Hornby four-wheeled coaches or anything like that. They are rather large, which is good to see. Look at the underframe detail on this one. It's very different to the previous four-wheeler I looked at. It looks like a pressure tank under there. You can see all the brake rigging as well. The axles are quite interesting. They're not made of metal, they're sort of thick plastic. That's presumably done so that the two sets of wheels can be properly insulated. Where do they pick up? It looks like they pick up through the axle boxes for the lighting, so I suppose that explains that. What's this one then? This is it looks like a four-compartment four-wheeler, if that's correct. Yeah, I think so. That's quite nice, isn't it? That's very, very nice indeed. Okay, two more left. Let's have a look. This looks like another, is this oil? Yeah, this one's another oil powered lighting version. Let's get this out real slow and steady. Okay, there we go. That's another four-wheeler there. Is this four? No, that's five compartments. Wow, they've crammed quite a lot of compartments into a small coach there, haven't they? Yeah, that one I like even better. That's very nice, actually. And there are some serious details involved here. This is awesome. Okay, I think we are almost at an end. There's one more left. It looks like one more six-wheeler. Let's take a look at this. This one's gas powered again. I may have researched which lights look like what, so that I actually know what the hell I'm talking about for this. Okay, there we go. So it's another six-wheeler, yes. I think this is the bog, or the lavatory coach. I'm going to call it the bog coach, just because I think that's more suitable, more appropriate. Again, this has the footboard split in two, and I notice on this version the footboards are much lower down than when they are not split in two, which explains why they have to be split in two. So is that prototypical then, I wonder? Either that or it's just a compromise to actually make the things work properly, which I guess is quite important. But there we go, that is nice, and we'll have a look and see if there's some interior I have been told, and this also scares me, I have been told that I can remove the roofs if I'm very careful. So I might try that with a couple of them. For obvious reasons, I don't want to push my luck and do them all, but we will take a look inside. In fact, we're going to look very closely at all of these in just a second. But first of all, here's a little bit of information on some of the different versions of these coaches that are going to be available, and also some of the locos that you could feasibly run with them if you wanted to. So a very popular offering is the LBSC version, loads and loads of engines out there which would be perfectly matched with coaches like this. I suppose the most popular ones would be the Terriers, yeah, LBSC Terriers. For the first time we've got some proper coaches for those, or at least sort of era 2 I suppose. And you've also got the E4, don't forget. It would be lovely to get some coaches to go with the E4s. There's this, we've got the 3D renders for these. This is the SECR version. Look at that, very nice livery that. Unusual, very different to the SECR birdcage livery, isn't it, in that sort of umber brown. Now the possibilities for these are endless. I've chosen the P-Class because that's Hattons as well, so you could have a complete Hattons train. Possibility for a train pack there, Hattons, take note. And also the H-Class from Hornby, that's a popular model as well. Perfect for the H-Class, I'd imagine. The Great Northern, there's some fantastic options for the Great Northern. A favourite of mine is the J13. You've got the N2s. Hornby did a Great Northern version of the N2. This would look fantastic. And why not? Let's throw in the C1 Atlantic as well. Maybe that's a little bit late for these coaches, but who knows? I think they'd look great. You've also got a Great Western version as well. This extends out to Era 3, I believe, and there are, again, so many possibilities. But just to throw a few out there, the 1361, some nice coaches might help distract from the loco there. The Dean Single, that's a Hornby one, that would look quite nice with some proper coaches, wouldn't it? Then you've got the Southern Railway version. Again, this extends into Era 3, so you've got even more possibilities here. I would go for the Adams radial tank, personally. I'm going for more sort of tank engines, though. It just seems they'll look better with tank engines for some reason. So you've got the Adams radial tank, that would look really nice. The M7, of course, that's quite a nice early tank engine. Again, lots and lots of choice for the Southern Railway. Bit less choice for the LNWR. The only one I can think of, really, that I own is the Webb coal tank, but even so, so that would look very good, wouldn't it? Then you've got the LNER pre-war liveries. Again, the possibilities are absolutely endless. I like the idea of the D16. There's a tender loco for you if you fancied that. The J72, you could use that in the sort of late LNER black livery, couldn't you? That would be great. The J36, imagine that with some proper coaches. Absolutely awesome. And then finally, you've got the LMS Crimson Lake here. That looks pretty good. How about the Caledonian Single in the LMS livery? That's an unusual one for you. And how about a traditional Ginty as well? You can just imagine that, can't you, on a small branch line with some little four-wheeled coaches. There are an awful lot of possibilities, but for now, let's take a close look at some of the features of these beautiful coaches. Wow. So I was told, right, that because these are samples, they've been heavily prodded and poked by the Hatton's team because they're engineering samples and they have to be evaluated. And so I should expect them to look a little bit tired, you know, maybe a few bits dropping off, maybe not looking exactly at their best. But these look absolutely fantastic, don't they? Even without the decoration applied, these look very, very presentable indeed, very, very nicely put together. Everything fits together as it should, and they look really, really neat and tidy. So this is going to be good, I think. So you're looking now at the 6-wheel third brake. Notice this has the Mansell wheels. It's worth pointing those out because they're actually very nicely moulded, and they change the look of the whole coach in a way, don't they, really? So that's quite interesting. Also, this version has the gas lighting. So here's a nice close-up of the roof furniture on the gaslit examples. You can see you've got gas pipes which come off the end of the coach there and down the back, and actually the way that those pipes connect up where the removing roof is very clever indeed, because there's no glue involved, they just sort of slot together. It's very intuitive, so that's great. Next up, you're now looking at the 4-wheel third brake. With this one, the interesting part is the back-facing windows, or I guess they could be front-facing depending on which way you put them. This is the only coach, at least of the samples I've been given, that has these windows, and they're very nicely glazed, as you can see. You can also tell, though, that the spring-loaded contacts for the coaches that have lights, they are visible through each of the corner windows. So that does detract very slightly from the realism, although I have been told that these are to be painted to match the interiors on the final product. And the level of detail is absolutely superb. Notice the door handles here, they are all actually separately fitted. That's a really nice little detail, isn't it? This is now the 6-wheel 5-compartment coach. This one has the oil lighting, so let's have a look at some of the roof furniture on there. Very different again, isn't it? But also very nicely moulded. A bit less complex than the gas-fired version though, but still very interesting to see. And look at the ends, you can see we've got these separately fitted metal handrails, which are wonderful, and also the steps are made of metal as well. And examples that have the duckets here also have the metal handrails, as you can see, as well as tiny little glazed windows too. So suddenly, when you realise it's got features like this, the £30 suddenly seems very reasonable indeed. They're quite substantial, reasonably weighty. We'll talk about the weight in just a second, and there are lots and lots of metal details. Next up then we have the 6-wheel full brake. This has a very different body style, as you can see. It looks a lot different to the rest. This one has the electric lights, which is a bit more conventional. Most of the coaches I look at tend to have this type of roof furniture, so that's a more familiar sight, I suppose. So it's a good opportunity to show the underframe. Look at the level of detail here, just a closer. I did show you this earlier on when I was holding the models, but this is a bit of a closer look for you. Absolutely fantastic. They really do look good, don't they? You know, when these are all decorated up, this is just going to look incredibly impressive, isn't it? Okay, let's move on then to the next one. This, I believe, is the 4-wheel 4-compartment coach. Let's take off the roof on this one and have a look at the interior. So as you can see, yes, it does have the luggage racks, which look fantastic. They're very, very fine, aren't they? And from the outside, you do have to get down quite low, but because of how complex they are, when you do catch sight of them, they look incredibly realistic. Again, even in this undecorated state, which is fantastic. Again, let me do you a pan of the underframe because it looks very different yet again on this example. I'm really starting to get a sense of the sheer number of variations in these coaches. They sure have gone to town, haven't they? All right, the 4-wheel 5-compartment coach. Let's take a look at some more of the details that I've not covered yet. You've got metal buffers. Look at those turned metal buffers. They're very good indeed. You've got these very fine vacuum pipes as well. Look at those. Even those are good. Look at the intricacy of those. And it's also worth noting that the glazing is very nicely done on each example as well. Even now, very nice and tidily fitted, which is great to see. Finally then, let's have a look at the bog coach. Here it is. And yes, I know everybody was asking this. Maybe they weren't, but there are toilets moulded inside. I did laugh when I saw that, I have to be honest. They're not incredibly detailed, Hattons. They're significantly less grotty than I'd expect toilets from the early 1900s to look, so hopefully you can help me out there or something. I have no idea. But anyway, yeah, there we go. You've had now a good look at each of the 6 examples and some of the detail that they have on offer. So now then, let's talk a little bit about performance. I'm going to get them down onto my railway for the very first time, and we will give them a test. So I've set up a couple of locos to do the work for us today. I've got the Hatton's P-Class, obviously, because it's Hatton's, that kind of makes sense. And also, for some of the other examples, I have a web coal tank there, ready and waiting. So first of all, let's try the non-lit coaches. Let's try putting some of these coaches on the track. I've already done this for filming purposes up on the white background, but this will be the first time on the track. No particular rhyme or reason to the formations I'm doing here. I'm going to put the full brake at the back, I reckon. How are the couplings? Yep, coupling's alright, that seems fine. And also, these are both the 3-wheel kind, and they're very, very freewheeling, as you can see. And once again, these will have been through the mill already, very much. Okay, let's try a 4-wheeler. Let's see if these match properly. Yeah, I mean, the couplings, this has not yet necessarily been refined, and yet the couplings are all engaging 100% so far. Look at that, perfect every time. Okay, one more. Is this going to be the bog one? Damn, I've gone and put the bog at the front. Oh well, never mind. There we are, that is a full house of proper working couplings there. That is very, very good indeed. So there you go, that is a train of 5, looking very good. Let's get the loco coupled up to that, see how it manages with them. Okay, very nice. Once again, a successful coupling. That is very, very good news. I hate it when coaches and wagons don't couple properly. Hopefully they will stay coupled now that I've said that as well. And I will put them... Oh, I'll put them to the test, shall I? I'll put them over some points and such. And then for the web coal tank, we have a couple of the lit coaches. Now, I'm told at the moment these don't have any capacitor smoothing inside, except for the final production run, they will. So that's good. That means basically you'll get nice smooth lighting without any flickering or anything. So that will be really good. But we'll give them a test as they are right now. Here we go. In fact, what I might do is take the web coal tank off so that it's not trying to take the train away while we're looking at the lights. There we are. Had trouble getting that one on. Okay, again, couplings works fine. Right, let's take off the web coal tank and let's have a look at the lighting. I might have to dim the house lights for this. Right, so it turns out it's just this one with the working lighting. This one hasn't been set up properly yet. But as you can see, this one here looks pretty good. It has got the warm white LED inside, which is nice, much better than the cool. So that looks very nice and realistic. And of course, it helps to illuminate the interior. So if you were to fit passengers or if you were to detail up the interiors in any way, the lighting would very much help to show that off. So, ooh, need to put the power off. I very nearly went to put the web coal tank on the track there with full power on. That would not have ended very well. No, there we go. Couple that up and let's take it for a spin. All right, I've taken this at a nice steady pace just so that we can watch how everything works. Here are the second radius curves, the dreaded ones. We've already had a 6-wheeler go over it. Here are the others now. Look at that. So that moving axle in the centre really does work. And I think the minimum they're designed for is second radius. And as we can see, they are indeed working on second radius, which means that is a tick. And seems the web coal tank's train is handling this just fine as well. That one's a bit faster actually, so that's not bad. Beautiful. And if these look this good without the decoration on, what are they going to look like when they are fully decorated and painted? Well, I guess we've got to wait and see on that, but I'm looking forward to finding out, that is for sure. There we go, that is more than one complete lap now, and they are running nice and reliably, which is good. It's a nice long consist, that, sort of. The lighting is good, but it will be much better once it's got the capacitors in. I think that will definitely make a big difference. P-Class mashing quite nicely, actually, in its grey. I suppose the decoration will scupper that though, won't it? Wonderful. Well, my layout hasn't tripped them up under normal running condition, so let's throw them over that absolutely dreaded set of points and see how they handle it. I apologise in advance, Hattons. So maybe this will be a little bit unfair, because I do suspect there's something wrong with these points, but hey, if they manage it with no problems, that's not a bad thing, is it? Right. Good luck, coaches. Good luck. Counting on you. Okay, here we go. Reverse. Reasonable speed. Let's try. Looking good. We've got three-wheelers over the points, four-wheelers over. Wow. Bit of a judder from the P-Class, if anything, but I did not see any issues with the coaches. Let's bring it back over forwards. God. Ain't bad, is it, for engineering samples? Solid as a rock. Look at that. Amazing. So one of the good things about my layout, and there aren't very many things, but one of the good things is it is a worst case scenario, which makes using this for reviews and testing purposes actually quite useful. In a more proper model railway environment, you're not necessarily going to be able to test these properly because they're not going to derail on good track. Manufacturers cannot assume that all of their customers are going to have properly laid track, so seeing these coaches perform so well on track that is on the floor, like mine, bit naff obviously, does demonstrate how reliable they are though, so that's really quite good. We have seen products that have gone into production and been released that do not handle this well on this layout, so that is very impressive. Oh, I reckon that one's off. Yeah, I have noticed once or twice those six-wheelers do sometimes struggle. The centre axle occasionally gets stuck on its travel and that causes derailments, but obviously that's the point of these engineering samples. They'll tweak little things like this and hopefully fix them for the final release. Not happened very many times, 2 or 3 times in the hour or so I've been testing them, but yeah, overall not bad at all. Okay, so now I've got just the four-wheel coaches behind the Dean single, and don't forget you could also use these coaches with the Sterling single if you got the Great Northern variant. Weight-wise, the four-wheeled coaches weigh in at 66 grams without the lighting, and with the lighting it adds around 9 grams to those. Mine with lights weighs 75 grams. With the six-wheel coaches, I have the N2 in Great Northern livery, so again this would be a great-looking Great Northern loco. The six-wheel coaches are heavier, obviously. These weigh 80 grams, but weirdly the lighting only adds 5 grams to these. So this may not be typical of the final products, I should say. These again are just engineering samples, but that's a rough idea of what the weights of the samples are like. And I would assume, I have no way of knowing, but I would assume that the final production models will be within that ballpark, roughly speaking. Don't think I've ever seen that Sterling single go so steadily before. It obviously knows it's got to be careful with this lot. So a huge thank you to Hattons for letting me have the first look at these amazing Genesis coaches. I just cannot wait to see how these turn out. They're already absolutely beautiful and they're far from done, you know. There's a lot more to come yet in terms of livery and extra little painted details and such, so all of that stuff is going to be just amazing to see. But as they are now, they're looking very, very promising. I've got my pre-orders in. If you too are thinking of getting some, make sure you do so. Links down in the description. Some versions may be very, very popular given how few pre-grouping coaches are already available on the market, so it's well worth getting in there if you want to end up with some of these lovely coaches. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Man, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, thanks for your company, and I will see you on the next one. Alright, cheers folks, look after yourselves.